Yes, back in on Inside the Game. Welcome in episode 233. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky. Got an exciting one coming up for you here today. We got a stacked show. The voice of U.S. soccer will be joining us, JP Dellacamera, expecting him at about 9:30. So, chance to have a really fun conversation there, Ryan. Obviously, someone that has had a lot of experience, has been in multiple World Cups dating back to the 90s, was originally from Massachusetts, grew up in Massachusetts, and was actually a voice in minor league hockey for a while. Hockey is kind of where he got his start, but eventually got into soccer, but has been the voice of NHL. He's done stuff in the Champions League, the voice of the Philadelphia Union currently. But I mean, the resume is just expansive. It's actually tough to just read through all of it. You just try to get the best parts of it, but should be a good conversation with him a little bit later on.
Yeah, and it's actually crazy that he started some of his soccer here in Detroit, which was really cool
Yeah.
to learn about. But no, JP is actually one of the voices. So there's two commentators three actually, if we count FIFA game, but there's three commentators that really that kind of were the voices of when I started watching soccer. Ian Dark, JP is one of them, and Martin Tyler. Those
Yeah.
are one of the three voices that I find like when I first started watching soccer when I was 7, 8 years old. He's one of the
Yeah.
voices that I truly remember. And kind of takes me back to like me being a little kid. But no, every single World Cup I've watched of the women's. He's doing the games and a couple of U.S. men's national teams games here and there. So yeah, no, JP is definitely one of the voices that I recall.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you never really know where your career is going to take you. And I'll be interested to see because obviously growing up in Massachusetts, hockey is huge there. So, was soccer in the plans to begin with? What did his career look like coming up? A lot of good stuff we can get into. But before we get everything started off here today, big win for USA men's hockey yesterday over Sweden, an overtime victory against the Swedes. And that one, obviously, we know the women's team advancing to the gold medal game. So you're talking about our predictions a little bit later on in the show yesterday, whether or not we thought the U.S. was going to emerge. I was a little scared just simply because Sweden's had our number, but I wanted to mention this and I wanted to work this in because obviously we are a national podcast, but we are based in Michigan, and Michigan pretty much themselves took down Sweden in the Olympics yesterday. The state of Michigan, I should say, Hellebuck from Commerce, Michigan, Dylan Larkin, University of Michigan from Waterford, and Quinn Hughes from Canton, Michigan. So three of the most important players, and obviously Hellebuck had 28 saves, 29 shots on goal yesterday. So it's cool to see the state of Michigan kind of winning that game against Sweden. So they'll take on Slovakia now in the semis and
Yeah, there's six
hope
of
to
them.
get to see Canada in the finals because Canada just was able to sneak past the Czech Republic. So good win for the U.S. And that play by Quinn Hughes was just, I mean, the kid is, I know he talks about how when he's on the ice, he just sees ghosts. Like, that's why he always looks like, I
The
don't know
Sam
if you've
Darnold.
seen yeah, maybe, but I don't know if you've seen the videos of him just kind of like standing motionless
I've
with
seen
no
the
expression
photos.
on his face. It's so funny. So,
No,
so funny. But
no, the Michigan is well represented on the U.S. team. There's
yeah.
six of them at the moment on the team. That's the
Hmm.
most, and then both of them being U of M players scoring yesterday. So for like the whole world, for the whole country, you're welcome. I'll tell you that. But watching the Canada Czech Republic game, I mean, Canada was on the ropes, but they come out of it in the
Yeah.
end in overtime. I really thought the Czech Republic were actually going to upset them, but if the U.S. were to somehow win the gold medal and it wasn't against Canada in the gold medal round, I I know it's a gold medal, but at the same time, I would really like to beat them. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah.
yeah, a gold
It
medal is
just
still a
wouldn't hit
gold
the
medal,
same.
but
Yeah.
it's just better beating Canada
Yeah.
if we get to that moment.
Yeah, I know. I 100% agree. I just started thinking yesterday when I looked at some of these names, those three names specifically, whether or not they've probably played at the rink that I call games at, that I'll be at this weekend at Pat Patterson. It's just fun thing to think about. And obviously, the U.S. development, the place, their center for development is here in Michigan as well. So clearly getting a lot of the best from the Mitten State. But let's get into our first topic here in our number one, our soccer portion of Inside the Game. Again, JP Dellacamera probably going to join us at 9:30. But you had your first topic on here was about how it is potentially harder to win an MLS Cup over a Champions League. At least this, according to one
I didn't
particular
say that.
player.
I'm just going off
Oh,
what
hold on, I
Rodrigo
wasn't done
DePaul
talking
said.
yet. I that's what I'm saying. I said according to one player. So go ahead and set it up.
You didn't say according. You're like, well, you put on here is it
I didn't
harder?
get to
like
the
you
end of my
didn't, you didn't
sentence, Ryan.
elaborate all the way. You said
I
you
didn't
could
get
have
to
just
the
said
end of my sentence.
Rodrigo DePaul said, no, throw me under the bus for that.
Okay.
No, that's horrible, Nate. Horrible. No, gosh, no, I didn't say that. Rodrigo
How dare
DePaul's
me.
an idiot. And the guy who doesn't even have a Champions League. He has as many as me. 0.
Yeah,
Never
that's
even
fair.
played in a
That's
final.
fair.
That's as many as I've had. 0. No, Rodrigo DePaul comes in one year and gets carried by Messi and Suarez and Busquets, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden says the MLS is harder to win a championship in than the Champions League. There's no way. No way, man. But no.
Yep.
Is there something to be said? Maybe like 5 years ago, it's harder to win an MLS Cup now than 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Sure. But he's come in 1 year and said that the MLS. No, it's. You look at the two competitions, the MLS one league, but you're competing in all of Europe, the best leagues in the world, the top flights, the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A,
Yeah.
Ligue 1,
Yeah.
EPL. I mean, there's other leagues too that I'm sure some teams have made some noise in. Oh, the Portuguese league, Porto has made some noise. I think Porto actually has one. Has won a Champions League, but no, it's DePaul for him to come out and say that the MLS is. I know this is from a while ago, but it resurfaced yesterday. For DePaul to come out and say that the MLS is harder to win than a Champions League. I mean, man, like seriously, now even with the new format, I think it's a little bit harder to win a Champions League, especially if you're coming from the round of 32 and in the group stage and everything now in the table setting. Sure, what he's coming at is saying is, playing the hard, grueling schedule of 34 games and then, playing in the playoffs, some, one leg, 2 legs. Well, it's the same thing as the Champions League. I mean, Champions League is the best in the world. And the thing is also about the Champions League is, it's not the playoffs where the season's over. Like, you're not playing anything else other than the playoffs. The Champions League, you still have league play. You still might have your domestic cups in there. And you're playing midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, in different countries all across Europe. And that's the best of the world, too. And, some of these teams, they start off their campaign in August, and then some of them end up all the way into May in the final game of the season. No, the Champions League is 100% harder to win than the MLS. I mean, the best players are in the world are playing in this. The MLS, some former good players, yeah, they got the greatest player of all time in Messi, but that's 1-2 years? No, it's the MLS is so difficult, or the Champions League is so difficult to win. I mean, DePaul comes in and basically the joke is that Messi told him to say that because DePaul does whatever Messi says. It's just like his little dog that Messi drags around is Rodrigo DePaul, and no, for DePaul to come out and say that, it's just blasphemous, man. Like, you can't be saying something like that.
Yeah, I imagine it's hard to win, like a G League championship simply because, yeah, I mean, you have good players, but they're all right around the same level, which is not good enough to be in the best league in the world. They're one step away from that. They're all great players, all great college players. Some are from Europe, but it's hard to win a championship simply because, again, you're all kind of on the same level. It's all kind of mid, I guess, is what I would say. And that's what Major League Soccer in a way feels like. Not that, everyone there is terrible, but everyone's there for one reason, and that's to get to the next level. That's to get to Europe or the bigger clubs or to be in the Champions League. Unless, of course, you're on the other side of the aisle where you're coming back from Europe or whatever the case may be. But it's a proving ground. So, I mean, yeah, I can see how maybe that would create a situation where it's tough to go out and win a championship. But no, the European schedule is grueling, and the overall level of talent is still far superior to that of Major League Soccer. And I think we can all come to agree with that. So with that, I would imagine it would make it that much harder to go out and win a championship. But I also feel like this is just one of those things where, players love to talk up the league that they're in because it makes them look better. It makes the league look better. It makes MLS look better. I mean, when you start throwing out comparisons against the rest of the world, a lot of these players, it's just it really just kind of it increases their stock and it increases the league stock. And so they're going to say things like this, whether or not they actually believe it. I don't, maybe he does actually believe what he's saying. And I can also see where it's tough to win a championship in the MLS simply because it's becoming top heavy. It is a league that you start to see the separation between the haves and the have-nots, and we've certainly seen that lately. Obviously, with the addition of Messi and some of the other signings for the West Coast teams, LA, getting we still can't figure out his name to this day, Heung-min Son. I'll just say it that way. But I can see maybe in that way how it would become difficult to win a championship in the MLS simply because it's becoming more top heavy of a league. But
he's on the top heavy team.
He benefits from that. So I don't know where he's coming from when he says that, or what exactly makes it so difficult. So that's the hypocritical part. Like if this was coming from someone like Minnesota United, then it's like, oh, all right, well, yeah. I mean, maybe you got a point here, but coming from the guy who's a part of the super team, it's like that doesn't ring true. So I think it's just a matter of, and I think for Inter Miami, I think they also want their accomplishments to look more impressive, because compared to the rest of the world, especially when you put them in the Club World Cup, yeah, I mean, they got one decent win, but then they just got demolished. So it's like, how do we make Inter Miami, the squad, look more impressive from a world perspective than maybe what it is, because we got waxed in the Club World Cup. So no, I think it's on its face, it's ridiculous, but I think it's just meant to get people talking, to be completely honest with you.
I just find it funny that this guy has spent, I mean, Atletico, they were always in the Champions League. Udinese, they were in the Champions League. I know they were. Valencia may have been, but no, this guy has been in the Champions League time and time again, and to not even make a final, and then to come out and say that the MLS Cup the MLS is harder to win than the Champions League. I mean, come on, man! Like, you didn't even make it that far in a Champions League. Atletico never goes far.
Yeah.
And this guy to come out here and say that is just a little bit ridiculous. And in my point here is, like, come on, man! Like, just because Messi told you to say that doesn't mean like you can come out and say it. DePaul is actually a really unlikable player in the grand scheme of things, based on the way he like tries to like protect Messi, I guess, if that makes sense. It's weird. Like, the whole Argentina team, like, it's cool to like rally around a player, like, for sure, but like DePaul is just like one of these players that like whatever Messi says he's gonna do or does. Like, it's just weird, if you ask me. And yeah, you win an MLS Cup in your first year of being in the league, but can you do it again? Can you do it for a third straight year? But at the same time, he's on the super team. He benefits from being on the best team in the league, and he's going to be in the conversation. He's going to be in the conversation year in and year out. But no, I just don't think the MLS is that difficult to win a trophy compared to the Champions League.
No, and again, I think it's just this is a situation of he's trying to talk up Inter Miami in one way or another. He's just trying to make their accomplishments look that much more impressive, which I will say, you can't deny the fact that the overall talent level in Major League Soccer has gotten better. But does that mean it's harder than the Champions? No, I just think this is
gotten better,
outlandish kind of
the rest of the world's
comparison.
also gotten better. So
it's not close. Yeah, exactly.
Sure,
exactly.
It might overtake maybe a couple of European leagues in terms of talent, maybe, but the top of the top is the top of the top. The MLS won't ever sniff the top of the top unless we get billionaires and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk like funding clubs and spending ridiculous amounts of money on an Mbappe or an Erling Haaland or, well, Kevin De Bruyne is kind of washed now, but no, it's like those types of players. Like, there's no way that the MLS will. The MLS, sure, it could like somehow become the best league in the world, but it's going to take a lot of money because you're going to have to overpay significantly for a lot of players, and also there's just the history of being in in the atmospheres and the environments of being over in Europe and those clubs. Like, it's eye appealing to a lot of teams. Like, a Real Madrid is way more attractive than an Inter Miami or a Minnesota United or a New York City FC. Like, those clubs are just a different level, man. It's just a different level in terms of the attractiveness compared to an MLS side.
Yeah, well, and the parity too is the other side. Like I don't. Yeah, I look at the Champions League and I'm like, I'm just assuming that there's just way more parity in terms of not only the
Well,
depth of
yeah.
all the rosters that you're facing, but just top to bottom that there is. So it's like again that goes back to your point. Like it just seems ironic that the guy from Inter Miami is going to be the one to sit around and make
Yeah,
this point.
I think I've only seen one Champions. Well, that's Real Madrid. They won 3 straight, but outside of that, it's a different
Yeah.
team almost every single year. I mean, there's more clubs that are actually no. Yeah, no, there's more clubs that are actually in the Champions League than the MLS. But,
Yeah.
for the most part, there's only really it's like every league and every competition and every sport. There's only like 5 or 6, 8 teams maybe that are truly like a contender. And then once you kind of
But
get,
even that's way more than the MLS, you think. I mean,
it's an American
right?
sport.
Major League
There's
Soccer is probably like 5, 4.
maybe,
maybe.
but again, soccer's that weird sport where you can be bad
It
and
is.
still
It is
upset
for
people.
sure.
But
And
I
still,
think
yeah.
with the way that the MLS is starting to separate itself, I really just see it as Vancouver, Inter. It's really about it. Maybe a couple more that I can think of. But no,
San
it's
Diego's got better. LA, you know.
but it's just outside of that. I mean, you go to the Champions League. It's Real Madrid's always got a shot. Barca, City, Bayern, PSG just won theirs. So yeah, no, there's more parity, I would say, in the Champions League than the MLS.
It's just gotten more. It has gotten more competitive. It's just not like I said. It's not quite to that extent. But we were talking yesterday a little bit, and I find it ironic that JP Dellacamera coming up. He's actually from Massachusetts, but we were talking about Boston and them stalling out FIFA and not granting them their entertainment license for the 2026 World Cup. Because of the price tag, it would cost their taxpayers $8 million. And Ryan, I never know what's going to blow up on social media, to be completely honest with you. But that ended up blowing up on social media. So I know we have to take a step aside. JP is going to join us in about just over 12 minutes here. Any interest in maybe going through and doing a mailbag before JP hops on the show?
Yeah. Yeah,
All right, let's do that. But first, let's tell you a little bit about Bayern Munich Soccer Camps. They're a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern Camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at fcbayernyouth.com. Back live on Inside the Game, episode 233 here on the National Soccer Network. Ryan, I was just tooling around on Twitter a little bit during the commercial break. I just wanted to read this off. New York City FC's apparently their U14 team went over and played 3 matches in England last week. They won 3-1 against Man United, 3-1 against Liverpool, and 4-1 against Man City. Scored 10 goals across 3 matches, conceding just 3. That's wild, man. So hey, congrats to U14. So congrats to those kids, man. That's pretty cool going over there. And that, obviously that's a good sign of development. I don't know if that means much. Obviously, if the senior squad went over and played those teams, it probably would not go nearly the same. However, it's just cool. It's cool to see the development doing something. At least for New York City.
It's cool, but at the same time, again, it's 14-year-olds, and always the difference is in terms of the U.S. development and compared to the rest of the world that I've always heard is, we kind of get to the age of like 13 and 14, and it's all kind of like neck and neck, and then after that age, we miss a step or we miss something, and then we just kind of get overpassed by everyone. But no, 14, that's cool. But you'd like to see maybe that be like a 16 or a U17, maybe under 21. For Manchester United, their academy hasn't really been what it used to be. Liverpool, that's impressive. Man City, that's impressive. Because they produce, top youth talent year in and year out, and constant academy players make it into the senior team year in, year out. I mean, Man City I think, has the best academy system in terms of the Premier League. I think. Yeah, I think it's them, and I think Liverpool. Liverpool and Arsenal, I think, are second. I think Liverpool maybe edges out Arsenal in terms of the academy development, but no, I think that those are some impressive wins for sure. Gets those 14-year-olds going a little bit, but again, maybe like to see that at a little bit of an older level, but still a good accomplishment.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's get into these comments tearing me apart on TikTok before JP joins us here at about 9:30.
Am I reading them or are you reading them?
Expecting him. Do you want to read them off? I don't know. I can go back and read them off if we got a few here.
I'm not on the account.
All right, hold on. Give me a second here. Let me.
Never mind. I got it right here. Yeah, it's gained 2,000 followers since I got here today. Local businesses would most likely see more traffic during that period and benefit from it. You seem to just look at it for yourself, but not at the scale of the community. The community was 100% going to benefit from it. I mean, hotels, restaurants, bars, shops, stores, grocery stores, if people are staying an extended period of time. The local businesses will benefit, everywhere around Foxborough. Maybe Boston,
the beauty of social media is that sometimes if you only post 20, 30-second clips, people get the complete wrong idea of what's going on in the video. And it's funny because people just assume that I was from Boston area from the way that I was talking. But clearly I'm not. I'm not from the area. However, there were a lot of people that are like, well, the World Cup is coming to your city, so giving you exposure. I'm like, okay, that's great. But the 8 million that we're talking about is for security purposes. That's what it's supposed to be used for. And so if you're not able to provide ample security in spots where you need it, and to be able to really enforce this thing the way that it needs to be enforced because of how many matches you're going to have in Foxborough and how many people you have coming to the city, you see how that could maybe create and cause some issues for the people of Foxborough and the people in that community. Okay, like, great, the World Cup is coming to Boston. I also think, there was another comment in there about how, well, it's going to give your city exposure. I think people know about Foxborough. I think people know about Boston.
They know about Foxborough
in general.
They know about Boston. They don't know about Foxborough.
They watch the NFL. They do.
We know the numbers of the World Cup compared to the Super Bowl. No, I don't think people know about Foxborough. They might know the New England Patriots, but is it the Foxborough Patriots? Is it the Boston Patriots?
That's fair. That's fair. They don't know about the town itself. They would probably just view it as whatever. But,
I bet you a lot of people don't know these cities. I bet you no one knows about a Kansas City, or actually maybe with the Chiefs, but no one knows like a Cincinnati or a Columbus. No one knows about all these towns.
Those places, I'll give that to you. Yeah, some of those ones. But, I don't know. Still 65 million viewers for the Super Bowl outside of the U.S. So, I think, anyways, the sense of entitlement to be like, well, the World Cup is giving you an opportunity. Well, no, they're costing us more money and they're taking more money out of our pockets. What do you mean? We need this back. So just kind of how I view that. But any other goodies in there?
Yeah, all countries that host World Cups do this. Your city will probably gain $20+ million from the World Cup. And you said, do what? And he responded, "Well, give money to the World Cup for allocation. It's a privilege to get a World Cup in your country." Yeah, I would say it's a privilege to have a World Cup in your country. 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say that too. But I mean, again, going back to what we were talking about, of course it's a privilege. Of course it's a great opportunity. But again, this sense of entitlement, it's not coming out of your pocket. So it's like, well, every country does it. Well, it's like, well, it's not coming out of your pocket. If FIFA can't hold up their end of the bargain and provide any sort of guarantees, why am I going to bash on the people of Foxborough? They're just expecting them to hold up their side of the bargain with this. So that was the entire point of what I was trying to say.
Gillette Stadium requested to be one of the places to be part of it. So yeah, you have to put up the money for it. I guess if you requested for it and you got it, I mean, you're kind of asking for it. I mean, beggars can't be choosers and stuff. So I mean, you begged for it. You can't choose about everything. So, yeah. Let's see. What are you crying about, Nate? That's what Alexis is wondering.
What am I crying about? I don't know. I'm not crying. I'm just yelling at the screen. Clearly my crying does well though, because it does numbers on our account. So that's always it's always a good way of going about it. You know, it's interesting when you get passionate about these things. People tend to go off and they tend to respond thusly. I know we got a few more minutes here. There are more countries waiting to host the World. Okay,
this one's great. I hope you know America needs the World Cup. The World Cup doesn't need America. I think if we're talking about soccer and growing the game, yes, America needs the World Cup. The World Cup doesn't need us because every place where it goes, you know, there's usually maybe not South Korea didn't really have it. Maybe South Africa definitely did, but Qatar definitely soccer. Brazil definitely a soccer. Russia maybe not as much. But no, every place around typically has a good soccer following, I would say, for the most part. Maybe there's a couple in the 90s that I don't know the names of it, names of where it was hosted. But I feel like back then still like there was a good, you know, soccer following, even when Brazil was hosting it back in the day with, you know, the Brazils versus the Uruguays back in the day. I would say in terms of growing the game of soccer, trying to give it another level, I would say yes. The America needs the World Cup in terms of that.
And I would say for FIFA, in terms of the amount of money they want to make, yeah, you need us just as much. Okay, what other country are you going to go to where you're going to make as much money as you're going to make here? Go ahead. No, I mean, you don't think FIFA needs us? Why have they been having all these tournaments here leading up to the World Cup? Why are they doing more stuff here than they've ever done before leading up to the World Cup? Maybe it's to build hype.
America
Maybe that's to build hype. That's fair. I understand that. Maybe that's to build hype. I get it. But no, FIFA sees the business opportunity in bringing the World Cup to the United States. Money-wise, and I don't even think that this is being dramatic, I think this is going to be the biggest output financially for FIFA in the history of this competition. And I'm comfortable saying that. FIFA realizes the business opportunities that are here in the United States. They have done nothing but kiss you know what to the United States and kiss up to the United States so that they can have the tournament here. Okay, we have the most room, we have the most facilities, we have the most money, we have everything FIFA needs in order to not only host a world, to be able to make a successful World Cup, but to get the most out of it financially. Now, FIFA in the US are just like this. They need us just as much as we need them. So let's not pretend like, ooh, FIFA doesn't need the United States. Where the hell else are you going to host this tournament that is going to be able to accommodate you quite the same way that the United States is, alongside Canada and Mexico? I don't want to shortchange those two, but yeah, let's not go as far as to say FIFA doesn't need us. Okay, FIFA, all they see is dollar signs dancing around in their head. And where the hell else are you going to make more of that than in the US of A? So I don't buy that. But yeah, for the US, no, I agree. I mean, in order to grow the sport, absolutely. We saw what 94 did. What is it going to do in 2026? Something's going to happen. Something ground moving in one way or another is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, we can do a segment maybe tomorrow on that whole thing, but let's take a quick step aside, and we'll have JP on the other side of the break.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today. Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back live and inside the game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky in the voice of U.S. soccer, as well as the voice of Philadelphia Union, joining us here on episode 233, the fourth of our four interviews this week, the one, the only, the voice. That's JP Dellacamera here on Inside the Game. Welcome in.
Welcome, JP.
Thanks for having me. Battling a little bit of a cold, but we'll make this through. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate the toughness.
Sometimes that's not always the worst thing. It gives you a little rasp to go with the voice, so it's sometimes it works out in your favor.
Sounds sexy, maybe. No.
Yeah. Hey, but we appreciate you stopping by. Obviously,
Sure.
A lot of energy building up for the 2026 World Cup. You've been a part of several of them throughout the years. I just wanted to start here, though. You began in the 70s. You're still at it here today. How have you been able to stay in this game for as long as you have?
I think part of it, guys, is luck. When you've done it for this long, you have to have some luck involved. It's been with different networks. Started with ESPN. Turner had one of them back in 1990. Then ESPN had a bunch. ESPN Radio, Fox. to last this long with this many networks, there has to be an element of luck involved. I'd like to think that I've developed my game as well over the years, did the proper studying, research, prep, all that stuff to stay relevant, to keep me in the conversation. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there's definitely an element of luck to anyone who's a success in the broadcasting business.
JP, I was listening to an old interview from another soccer podcast, and it said that you kind of talked your way into the Detroit Express
I did.
gig. One of your first
Yeah.
soccer gigs.
Yeah.
How did you sell yourself as someone who hadn't done soccer yet, but you're trying to do a soccer game, maybe get a couple of extra reps in your off season or something? But how did you talk your way into something that you haven't done yet?
I wish I could remember how I found out about the job, because there was no internet back then. But it was WJR in Detroit, which was
Yep.
probably still is, a major station.
Mhm.
And I saw that they were looking for a fill-in for the first 2 games. I had done some work with the Pennsylvania Stoners, American Soccer League, back in, I want to say 1980. I had done some work for them. So I had limited experience, but you have to remember, in those days, nobody had experience. So it was easier to talk my way in than someone might think. You could never do that today. Nobody could do that today. You know what I mean? There's so many young, talented announcers that are getting all kinds of experience in and on so many outlets that it would never happen. So again, there's the luck. Somebody took my call.
Yeah.
They were in a bind. They had no one. I sold myself, got hired, and that was one of the starts, I guess. One of the breaks in my career.
Would you say availability is the most important characteristic for a young broadcaster?
I'd say talent one.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say talent one. Being able to do the research too. I don't want to put being a good person at number 3, because that should always be number 1 with all of us. But I think you have to show you're a team player and willing to work, because you are a team. When you're broadcasting, I would never want anyone to say after a game, you did great, but I didn't like your analyst. I take that as an insult, not a compliment, because part of my job is to bring out the best in the analysts, to bring out the best in both of us, right? So you've all heard the expression, no I in team. I think that's especially true in broadcasting.
And growing up in Massachusetts, obviously there's a huge hockey culture out that way, but you took an opportunity in soccer, and obviously it's worked out for you really well. How did your background in hockey translate into your soccer broadcast? How did that help you in going over to a new sport?
It helped me immensely, because my first real break, even though we've talked about the outdoor soccer stuff with Detroit, my first real break was indoor soccer with the Pittsburgh Spirit. And I looked at indoor soccer as hockey on grass. It was, similar players, similar style. You dump the ball instead of the puck. There is offside. There's changing on the fly. There's all kinds of things. Power play, penalty kill. To me, it was the same game. And so my transition could not have been easier. I was also, again, the luck part. Made connections with coaches. Referees taught me so much about the indoor game. I still hear, when I listen to broadcasters, people complain about the official closest to the play doesn't make the call. And it might just be, I know this from referees, it's their angle is not good. Just because you're closer to the play doesn't mean you have a better angle. In fact, you might have a worse angle. And those are some of the things that I learned in the early days just from having a rapport with referees.
Make sure the fans also hear that comment, because fans are always complaining about that too.
Especially in indoor, right? Because there's,
Yeah.
same with hockey.
Yeah.
You're closer, in outdoor soccer, you've got the main referee who's going to really make all of the calls pretty much. And now you have VAR, so that kind of changes a lot of things.
JP, when I was 7 years old, the 2010 World Cup was being played in South Africa. And as a 7-year-old during the summer, you think everyone is like, oh, no school, everyone sleeps in. But I was a little different because at that time I've never watched pro soccer at that point, and I was just like mesmerized by this whole World Cup thing. And I didn't know any of the players. I didn't know anything, but I woke up every single morning at like 7 a.m. here in Michigan and watched every game the whole way. Explain to me what the environment of a World Cup is. Being there, calling the game, being a World Cup final. Like, what is it like to be in that environment? I've always wanted to know.
Wow. Any World Cup, or are you talking about South Africa?
Just any World Cup, anything.
South Africa was special because I was in the stadium for the last public appearance of Nelson Mandela. He was ill,
Wow.
very ill. He came to the game. He was on a golf cart, and he, with his driver, took a spin around the stadium. The applause was deafening. The love that you could feel for this man was incredible. You knew you were witnessing like a part of history, right? South Africa would have done better probably at that World Cup had they advanced. It's always better when the host nation goes farther. But I've been to World Cups. The atmosphere is really unlike anything else. Super Bowl, no. The closest thing I could say to a World Cup from just my own experience, Stanley Cup playoffs are amazing. You
Wow.
can't hear yourself think in those buildings. I've never been to like an NBA final, but I've done Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's the closest thing to a noise level, I would say. I mean, Super Bowls are always big, but, and we may find out the same, at this next World Cup with the ticket prices being what they are. Super Bowls are now for the rich. They're really not for the average person, right?
Yeah.
So you don't get the same noise level that you would when an NFL team has a home field advantage. I don't know what this World Cup is going to be like because we don't know where fans are coming from. But I will tell you, despite those high prices, every seat's going to be taken.
Yeah.
Not going to be a problem filling the building.
And you got to see the impact, too, of the last World Cup that came through the United States. And we had the chance to talk to Alexi Lalas earlier this week about being on that team and playing here in the U.S. And obviously Major League Soccer was born from that. What do you see happening after the 26 World Cup? Do you see something else of the sort happening here in the U.S., some sort of other movement because of the World Cup coming here?
It's a great question because back then, we had so much room to grow, like now you've got MLS 30 teams. Now you've got 16 teams in NWSL. USL is loaded with teams in different divisions. So I don't know what the next step is in that regard. It might be, you might see some growth with the USL with the Pro Rel and becoming a first division, because I'm not sure how much bigger MLS can be. Is it more teams? Do you merge with Mexico? What comes next? But I would say this: what this World Cup will do, it will set all kinds of records for television viewership, ratings, which tell us a lot. Social media numbers will be unprecedented. Advertising dollars like we've never seen before. So probably the next step is, where does all of that take us? Like, does somebody who sees what this World Cup has done now decide that they want to invest in an MLS team, the league, a television syndication, USL, NWSL, Uh, Another league that we're not even thinking about, indoor
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that, personally, more of an investment in the indoor game. There's so many ways it can grow, but in 1994, and Alexi would know this, we were not a soccer nation. We are now.
Mhm.
There's no question about it. I would argue with anybody that says we're not a soccer nation. We are. We're also a basketball nation, football nation, baseball nation, hockey nation, right? That's different than in other
Yeah.
countries. But make no mistake,
Yeah.
we are a soccer nation. And we've grown so much since 94. And that was really without the benefit of the internet that we see today, without the benefit of social media that we see today. So this thing is going to reach levels that none of us ever dreamed of in 94.
JP, I heard you call this goal the $1 billion goal. Paul Caligiuri back in '89, his goal against Trinidad, which ultimately got us to the '90 World Cup. Why did you nickname it or coin it the million or the $1 billion goal?
Well, I wish I had coined it that way years ago, but I hadn't thought about it. I think back then it was the shot heard around the world
Yeah.
because that's what I don't know if that was my line or I took it from somebody else, but that was the line back then. But somebody asked me, and I think it just came off the top of my head when they asked me to reflect on that goal and what it means. And I think I started the answer with, I first called it the shot heard around the world. But then when I started to think about the impact, that we're still talking about that goal decades later, where would we have been had we not qualified for that World Cup? We still were going to host it in 94, but there would have been no momentum, um, no real talk of a pro league. I mean, FIFA wanted that, but, would it have happened? I don't know. Nothing is guaranteed, I would say, right? So when you think about everything that's happened since that Caligiuri goal, from the enormous amount of money that Nike and other sponsors have put in, to MLS growing to, the levels that they've reached now, and the new stadiums, the new training facilities, USL's development, NWSL, other leagues before that. I mean, this is all Caligiuri started it. So it just came to me that and $1 billion seemed right. It's not millions, and it's probably
Yeah.
several billion, probably several billion.
Yeah. You had obviously that
Thank you,
moment.
thank you, Paul. By the way, thanks, Paul.
Shout out, Paul.
Yeah,
You had that moment. You had Brianna Scurry's save, which was another legendary moment over on the U.S. women's national team side. I guess I'll put you on the spot here. What's your favorite World Cup moment, individual moment that you've had on air?
1999 Women's World Cup, Chastain's penalty kick goal.
Oh, wow.
It's funny when you think about that because, Al Michaels' most famous call was, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that call. I set the stage for what would happen if she converted her shot. So my
Mm.
greatest call ever was one word. It was goal, and I laid out, and everybody knew that they had won
Mm-hmm.
based on the way I had set it up, and the fans' reaction and the players' reaction. But I say that that's the one that I remember the most because of what it did for the sport. You have to remember, this is 99. In 1998, our men's team, sorry, Alexi, finished last in France
That's
at the
true.
World Cup, right? So we're on a down cycle there, right? These women came through. They sold out stadiums. They set ratings records that were not touched again until 2015. Sponsorship records, appearances on national television. This was the biggest soccer event at the time in women's soccer history, women's sports, and our own soccer history. This was bigger. You know, it was bigger than the 1994 Men's World Cup. It was. More people
Yeah.
watched it. You know, the numbers don't lie. So that's why I would have to say, for me, that's the number one memory for me. It's not the greatest game. It was one of them, even though it was scoreless and then went to penalty kicks. But it may or may
Yeah.
not have been the best game. May not have been the best goal call. May not have been the best whatever. But that's the one I remember the most.
Why do you think the U.S. women's national team is been so dominant over the last couple of decades compared to the men's team?
It's another good question. I would say, with no disrespect to the college game, I think that our colleges don't prepare our players as well for the men's pros and national team as the women do. So many men players at the collegiate level have not been able to make the jump to either MLS or the national team. But on the women's side, they make it. They make an impact right away. So I think for whatever reason, and subject to debate by way smarter people than me, like the coaches, but there's got to be something there, right? Why can our women adapt more easily to both the pro game and the international game, right? But I also think part of the thing that some people miss is that we started at the same time as everybody else.
Yeah.
I want to say mid 80s. I can't recall. I didn't do it, but I can't recall the first game that the U.S. women played. But we had pretty much an equal start as everyone else, right? And our colleges back then, UNC was the dominating team. Now you've got maybe 10 really good colleges now, right? But back then, you could have probably had a national team based on just UNC. And there were several players on those first teams, if you remember, Ham, Lily, so many others. I don't want to say names, then you forget some. But I think that back then, the women started equal with everyone else. And then we started to get some of that Nike money that the men had, and we put more resources into it. And the reason why we're still great is because we continue to improve, we continue to elevate, we continue to spend more money. We're spending it on the younger girls now instead of just the women. And the reason why it's more competitive now is because other nations are doing the same. And when I did the 2023 Women's World Cup, when I was speaking to the Netherlands coach before a game with the U.S., he was making that statement. When I asked him, why is it so much more competitive now? And he said, before, he said, your guys, the U.S., had more coaches than anyone else, more medical training than anyone else, more practice time than anyone else. You guys had it all. He said, now we have the same thing that you have, the same heart monitors, the same extensive coaching staff, the same rehab stuff. He says, we have the same. There's no more advantage. And that's why the women's game today is so much more competitive. I mean, if Spain spent the money that they're spending now, they would have been this good years ago. But they didn't spend it,
Yeah.
And you could make that claim of other nations as well. Look at what England does now. France, Germany has always been good. Norway was good. China was good. Then they stopped doing what made them successful. Now they need to get back to that level. But before, those were the two biggest rivals for the USA. They're not even in a top 10 now. If you asked who's the USA rival, those two countries never mentioned.
How impressed are you at the job that Emma Hayes has done since coming over to be with the U.S. women's national team?
She's fantastic. Great choice, as it turns out. No national team experience before that, but she did have the experience of coaching so many players who've played internationally. I think the big thing about Emma, so many big things, right? But her her relationship with the players, the way she deals with the players, I think they know that she's the boss, but they also know that she's got them. You know, she's got their back. I think they not only like her, this is my observation, not only like her but respect her, but
Mhm.
she sees big picture and the little picture, right? The little picture
Yeah.
is really today. Today's the little picture. They're not playing for anything, right? But soon they will be playing for something. They'll be playing for the next Women's World Cup and the next Olympics. And I like what she's doing because, you know, think of all the things that she's had to overcome. You know, the triple espresso went from
Yeah.
3 shots to 0,
Yeah.
right? At
Right.
one point.
Yeah.
Now we've got 1 shot of it, right? Macario and her injuries, right? So many other players have been in and out. Players have retired, but yet she mixes and matches. She finds time to give debuts to Claire Hutton, to Emma Sears, you know, the next rising stars among
Yeah.
a group of rising stars. Um, she's been amazing. She's developed up to a point where we used to be, where, trying to remember who said it. I think it was Ali Krieger said it. 2019, I think it was World Cup, where she said we could have 2 teams here that would
Mm.
be
Probably true.
capable
Yeah.
of winning it. And I
Yeah.
would make that argument today that we could have 2 teams, and our second team would be better than so many other countries in this world.
Probably.
That's fair.
Been so dominant.
She's
I
gonna
want-
have a tough decisions to make
Mhm.
come that Women's World Cup countdown, because I mean, if Triple Espresso is healthy, you know, they're all in, you know, and then you've got
Yeah.
Macario, and you've got so many other rising stars. I mean, you guys know the names
Yeah.
because they're
Mhm.
playing now and they're scoring. You know, they're doing well. So
I
it's
had
a great
I had one more.
present and a great future.
Absolutely. No, and I think she does a good job of managing all the personalities too, and I think they have
Yeah.
really embraced her at the same time. It's good to be a player's coach, player's manager, because
She's
it
got to
really
get the
means
dance
they
moves down the first time, though.
yeah, it's got
gotta
to
get the
get the
dance moves
celebrations down. That's the
But
big
but
thing.
see how she tried it? Like, she didn't want to do it
Yeah,
the
that's
first
true.
time, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
She practiced.
you know,
absolutely.
she did it the second time. I think that goes a long way with players. Goes a long way with
Yeah.
players
Oh,
when they see
absolutely.
that you're willing to come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and embrace it. I wanted to ask a quick question before we get to the end of this interview. We didn't talk a lot about your hockey background and what you've done in the NHL and in other places, but I am curious. Did you watch the U.S. and Sweden yesterday? What was your takeaway from Quinn Hughes and the OT winner?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was back and forth, so I didn't see the ending of it. It was
Oh,
between
okay.
that.
All right.
I was between that and Champions League.
Ooh.
I am a big hockey guy. I did 5 years, 5 of the greatest years of my life. NHL, Atlanta Thrashers.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be an NHL announcer, full disclosure. And here's the luck part again, because I was in minor league hockey for 10 years with people that you know, including Doc Emmerich, who might be the greatest of all time.
The best. The
Uh,
best.
I was in there with those guys and maybe 8 to 10 others who made it to the NHL, and I didn't. And I didn't want to keep waiting for that break. So I left it.
Mm.
I ended up, you know, coming back and doing games in the old IHL and did some other fill-in work. And then in Atlanta, their announcer and his wife were trying to adopt a baby in China. And somebody that I knew, who I had done a World Cup with before in 1990, was now in charge of Turner. He calls me up. He says, I know you're a hockey person. Let me run this by you. We have an opening for 5 games. Would you like to do it? I probably said yes before he finished the question. I did the 5 games, and then I want to say 2 years later, maybe 3, he calls me again and he says, we're going to have an opening here. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll consider you if you want your name in the mix. And again, I said, sure. And I got it. So
Wow.
it's a lesson for every young person that I speak to. If you can continue your dream, if you can stay with it, don't give it up, because sometimes your dream may not happen right away or when you think it's going to happen, but it might happen when you least expect it. So I spent 10 years trying for an NHL job, came close to getting one. And then when I stopped trying, I got one. That's luck. Sorry,
Wow. That's awesome.
that's luck. That's luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great advice. But JP, last one. We ask everyone. We've had different answers all over the place.
France.
Oh, no, we're not talking about World Cup winners. Oh, we're not talking about
Okay,
World.
sorry.
France
Saw the future.
France is a good guess, though. I will say that.
Sorry.
But if you could go to any concert, see any band or artist that you would like, dead or alive, who would you go see?
I'd go see the Beatles again.
Again?
Saw them when I was a little kid. Yep.
I personally like the Rolling Stones a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's okay, but you're way younger, and I can understand that. But to me, Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player of all time. Wayne Gretzky, greatest hockey player of all time. I like the GOATs, the originals, the OGs.
Oh,
Nothing like the Beatles. Nothing like the Beatles.
What do you think? What do you think about Motown? What do you think about the Temptations?
I always liked Temptations, Four Tops, Smokey Robinson.
Okay.
Motown was great, like back in the day. So yeah, no.
Okay,
Love
the Temptations
Motown.
are my favorite band.
Awesome.
So
Are they?
Yeah.
yeah, they're my favorite band. That's when you don't have a choice on the stereo or the radio or the stereo aux cord in the car.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what your parents and family functions they play all the time, whether in the car
That's
or party.
okay.
So that's how I like them.
If I didn't become a sports announcer, my fallback was I wanted to be a disc jockey.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
I loved music. And back in those days, I was a bit of a music nerd. I could name every band member. I can't do it today probably, but if you said Rolling Stones, I could name them all. If you said the Animals, name them all. Dave Clark 5, name them all. Whoever the band was, I was like a music nerd. But I thought sports would be a longer career and a more enjoyable career, and no regrets about that decision.
And clearly it's turned out well for you at the same time. We appreciate you stopping by, JP, and looking forward to maybe getting to chat in the future a little bit.
Guys, thanks for having me. I'm glad my voice made it through for 30 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Apologize for the cold, but almost back at it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sounded great.
Thank you so
JP.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
See you.
That is JP Dellacamera here on Inside the Game. Wow, you talk about a wealth of knowledge, man. That's it's a lot of good stuff right there. I like his talking about his favorite moment too, and I didn't even think about the significance of the 1990 World Cup. I mean, we talk about 94 all the time and what that meant for the United States, but he's right. I mean, if we don't build any momentum from 1990, maybe that World Cup doesn't quite look the same in 94 as it did. So that's really, really good interview there with him.
Yeah, I would agree. Great broadcasting advice to anyone out there, you and I, or anyone else that's out there listening, wherever you are. Great advice, but no, also great soccer insight. And I don't think a lot of people realize that just even the outdoor game as well. Like, I feel like soccer and hockey are pretty similar. The only difference is the offside line is in one spot, and the other one is wherever you really want it to be, based off VAR discussions and all that stuff. But no, I think it's very, very similar, I would say.
It's not goaltender, it's goalkeeper. The other question, the only one that I kind of left on the table was he is one of the only hockey announcers. He's known for saying goal for goals in the NHL. Most say score. I mean, that's goal. Typically what it is. Yeah. So for him, that's kind of that crossover. I mean, I say score during soccer, and people think that's weird because I mean it is generally you don't say that in the sport of soccer, but there's certainly a lot of familiarity. And the indoor game it pretty much is hockey. I mean, you just don't obviously have the checking or the fighting or any of that other stuff that goes on, but in terms of the chaos, yeah, it is pretty much exactly that. So great interview with JP Dellacamera. Again, we're going to be posting all that up on social media, so check us out, National Soccer Network. We got to take a break. It's been a little bit here. So let's tell you a little bit about Barca Academy, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song "Grown" on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Sports Nation TV, hour number 2 here on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Hey, if you wanted to go catch our first hour portion of our show, go check it out. We'll have it up on YouTube here shortly after our show. JP Dellacamera, both hockey and soccer. So a little bit of chat on both sides, although he didn't see the ending of the USA game yesterday, which is, I've watched that highlight on repeat about 18 times. But great conversation with him. But now kind of moving into the second portion of our show, I'm going to give you an option here, Ryan, because I know you got a rant in the can, so I want to give you a chance to get that rant out there. I know we're going to do all sports content, but you want to yell a little bit about Arsenal first? You want me to give you the floor to maybe get that out of the way?
Yeah,
it's all sports, man, so it's still a sport.
What was I going to say? I didn't really enjoy the USA Sweden game because of what happened just moments prior. Like, I was sitting just ticked off, if I'm being completely honest with you. But yesterday, Arsenal blow a 2-goal lead to arguably the worst team in Premier League history. History. And it's the same story every single year with this team, ever since they started becoming, actually good. In the big moments, it's not even a big moment. That's a thing. The team sucked. But down the stretch, in games that they should not win, they don't win. They constantly play scared. They're not creative. They don't take risks. But when you're in a title race with a team like Man City, a team of this quality, ties are essentially losses. You're dropping 2 points all the time. Now if Man City goes on and wins against Newcastle, that leads down to 2, and you still have to play City. You still have to play Chelsea. You still have to play Tottenham on the weekend. You still have to play Newcastle as well. So this lead is 5 points right now. Yeah, I get that. But City has a game in hand. The way they're playing, they're most likely going to win that game. And I'm already penciling it in as a win for Man City. Maybe I'm a little bit premature on that part, but that's the way that this thing works. But under Arsenal, under Arteta, they lack that creativity in the final third all the time. They lack that grit when you need it. They lack that discipline at the end of the games. That's why they give up these late winners or these late equalizers all the damn time. But what I don't understand is this team switches off all the time when they get up a big goal lead, a 2-goal lead like that. And then in the run-in, which we're now in the run-in now, they just they look scared every single time. They don't take it to teams. I get it, these teams are sitting back. I get it, they're sitting in a low block. But you have world-class talent all over the field. Gabrielle, how many times are you going to have to run into David Raya and steal the ball away from him when if he just comes out, catches it, we don't give up an equalizer? That's happened twice this year. Sunderland and now last night. But we go into Molineux. This is the worst team in Premier League history. And we tie to them. We tie to Wolves. The worst team ever. Man City smacks them 4-0. Easily. But we lack that edge. We lack that grit. We lack that extra run late in games. We don't pull games out of our ass in the final game, in the final stages like Man City does. That's the difference. And for these fans that are like, oh, it's a draw, we still didn't lose, or Declan Rice, who I think is the best 6 in the world. Well, maybe he's now an 8 now. The best 6/8 in the world comes out and says, well, we didn't lose, and in a title run, it's still about draws. No, it's not, Declan. You got to go out and win. You got to snatch 3 points. You are building points up. Even if you go to the Etihad in April and you lose, you still have that edge. You still have that extra point cushion. In the Super Bowl, it was 6 points. It was ultimately 9 at one point, but Man City was losing to Liverpool late in the game. Guess what happens? They flip the game on the end and they win. You go in and play a Brentford, tie. You go and play Wolves, tie. This can't happen anymore. You're going to come away with no trophies at the end of the season. The only way I see this team going on and win the league is if you go in and win the Carabao Cup against Manchester City in March. That's the only way. Because if you get the confidence of, you know what, we finally did it. We finally got a trophy over Man City. I get it's the Carabao Cup. Clown it all you want. But the mental edge that it is that you go in instead and go and win a trophy against Manchester City. If they go in and win a trophy against Newcastle or Tottenham or a Man United and Aston Villa, it's not the same. But if you go in and win that trophy against Man City in the Carabao Cup, you get the mental or the muscle memory of doing this. Can't go that far because of the green screen. But you have this of going down and going up like this. And then you do it against that side, I think they go in and win the Premier League. But until then, this team has got to wake up. We have dropped 11 points in our last possible 27, I think it is. That can't happen. We are in a title race. This is the same thing that happened in 2022. The same thing. Scared to play. Scared to take that risk. Scared to press the ball forward. No, let's play it sideways. Let's go back with it. Let's keep it. No. Go out and take it sometimes. And this team plays scared. It's the same thing under Arteta. They just play scared all the time. They don't take it to them. It's the difference. And yesterday I kind of thought, we'd lose. Sweden was going to take it to us, the United States. But you know what they did? Quinn Hughes, you know what he did? Went over to the bench, waved them off, said, I'm good. I'm going out here and I'm gaming it. Games it. We don't have a player like that on Arsenal. We don't. Sock all we want. You can do this celebration all. I just signed the ting. I get it. You did. You deserve it. But you know what? Go out there and go win a game. You scored one, go score another. Gyökeres, I swear to God, you've got to dribble the ball for a damn change. Odegaard, enough of this. Enough of this with your hair. Go out and win a game. Eze, you were the missing piece. You don't do anything. Saliba, Gabriel, you're the best center back pairing in the world. You can't give up 2 goals like that. Calafiori, for the love of God, just clear the ball. Timber, you're a dog, so I can't really complain. Declan Rice, you're a dog, I can't complain. Martinelli, I swear to God. How many sitters are you going to miss in critical moments all year? How many sitters are you going to miss? At some point, you got to put the ball in the back of the net. Zubimendi, dog, I can't complain. But some of these guys, some of these players, there's just no excuse anymore. There's just no excuse with this team. And if they don't win the league this year, I think you have to have a conversation about Arteta being sacked. I really do, because this would be the 4th straight year of you coming in second. I don't care what you do ultimately in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. If you win those trophies, fine. But if you don't go out there and win the league, you don't go out there and win the Champions League, I think there's a conversation you have to have about your job. I don't care about what it looked like before at this point. I really don't. Because I'm tired of finishing second. We're the damn Bills, for crying out loud. We're going to have the 4 Falls of Buffalo. That's basically what it's coming down to. Just a disgrace, man. Just a disgrace.
Wow, dude. You got 45 seconds left in you, and then we'll hit 10:15, then we could take another commercial break. I mean, you rolled through that. Wow, one by one. I mean, do you think you already made that video? You already made that video saying that we're gonna give it away. I mean, you seemed pretty dejected in that video. I mean, do you think they can finish it off, or do you think this is a sign of what's to come? The collapse is coming.
I have not seen this team play well since the beginning of January against Aston Villa. That was the last time I've seen this team play well in a Premier League game. Where I sat there and was like, wow, we're taking over this game. There's no way we lose from the start to the finish. There's no way. And since that game, we have not done a thing. Champions League, different story. Carabao Cup, different story. I get that, for sure. But at the same time, we don't take it to teams. We play scared. It's very conservative. We're not aggressive. Guys, dropping 2 points or dropping 3 points, it's virtually the same thing. You got to go out there and win games.
Yeah.
I don't care about this. Well, we drew, so we didn't drop 3 points. We only dropped 2. Guys, it's dropping points. Man City, this is the time of the year where they go on and win 11 straight. They go on and win 12 straight. They win 14 straight. We have won 16 out of 18 games, and we still have lost the league. You got to go out there and take it for a damn change. Can't be playing scared anymore. It's the same thing that we did at the Etihad in 23. The same thing. We didn't go out and take it. You go out there and take it to Man City. You play that ball that Martinelli should have played to Trossard across the box. Tap in. Instead, conservative. And we tie that game. Ultimately, we lose to Aston Villa 2 weeks later. Cost us the league. It's ultimately what it is. Just sick and tired of this, conservative approach of this team. You got to go out there and take it. There's no spine. There's no backbone of this team. Go out there and take it. Jesus. Tell me about Man City, for crying out loud. I hate them as it is. Just put me in my coffin, man.
That's a perfect parlay into the Man City soccer read. Man City soccer camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the U.S. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration. Use promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. What's up? Welcome back. Inside the Game, National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, finally getting into the everything outside of soccer, long soccer portion today. Great show, though. We talked about great interview earlier, but wanted to get into this a little bit. The whole Harbaugh regime is finally gone. Sean McGee leaves as GM. Getting into the Harbaugh clan a little bit. Let you set this one up, though.
Yeah, it's like obviously Sharon Moore rehired Sean McGee, but at the same time, he was hired initially into Michigan back in 2017 by Jim Harbaugh. I forgot what his direct title was, but no, I think it's finally the end of the Jim Harbaugh era at the University of Michigan, because look, Sharon Moore was his guy as well. That still had the same feels of a Jim Harbaugh, I guess, in terms of the offense and everything, and he had a defensive coordinator that just blitzed all the time. Shout out Don Brown. But no, it's just that it finally feels that everything is over. I have seen and have read that they did an internal investigation, obviously after the whole Sharon Moore thing, and found something on Sean McGee, and they basically told him no. Some people have said like Whittingham just wants his guy in, and that makes complete sense too. But I think the University of Michigan football program has finally gotten out of that Jim Harbaugh odor. I guess if that makes sense. It feels like they're finally getting done with it. Sharon Moore was in Jim Harbaugh's contract to be the next head coach, or at least it was rumored to be. I don't know how true that was, but Sharon Moore comes in as the head coach for 2 years. Didn't really do a whole lot. Beat the national champs Ohio State, but outside of that, nothing really significant after that. Maybe bringing in Bryce Underwood as a 5-star. That was pretty big. They kind of opened up the NIL gates. But no, I think the whole regime is finally gone, and it's crazy to think that it took just about 11 years to lose a whole regime or get rid of a whole regime that was dominating the Michigan football program for 11 years.
Yeah, and good. I mean, listen, I love Jimbo. I love what he did at Michigan. Obviously, taking a decade to build up to finally win a national championship. It was long. It was grueling. It was all those years of him losing to Ohio State, then having to listen to him be compared to the likes of Bo Schembechler. It's like, guys, he's not even in the conversation. But it was a
Bo's
wild
a very
ride.
overrated coach, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, he only won one Rose Bowl. Went to a bunch of them. He did
them all.
Have a winning record. Did have a winning record against Woody Hayes. What do you mean lost them all? All of his Rose Bowls?
Damn,
he won a Rose Bowl. He won one. But no, so it was the Jim Harbaugh ride was unexpected. It was wild. There were so many twists and turns to it. And honestly, when I was back in high school, when he was initially brought on, like I didn't think it would take as long as it did for him to have the level of success that he did. But yeah, I mean, that's how long ago it was. Yes, I'm a dinosaur, Ryan. I'm almost 30. But that's the reality, is that it was crazy. It was wild. But at the end, it just got messy. And I thought the cheating scandal was going to be the end of it. I thought once Harbaugh was out of there, okay, this is kind of a hard reset for the program. But the messiness runs deeper than that. And that was the most discouraging thing about what happened with Sharon Moore, is that it's one thing if you go through the whole cheating scandal and then everything else. I'm not saying it's always going to be peachy clean at a place like Michigan. There's just too much money riding on success of football. And obviously with the Bryce Underwood thing, but I thought maybe that was it and that was all. But then the Sharon thing happens, and that doesn't look good for Jim Harbaugh either, because, hey, you were the guy that put him in this position. I realize you don't, people are good at hiding who they are, but I don't know if they're that good at it. So that didn't look good on him. So it's just time. I think it was time for Michigan to just be like, hey, listen, Jim was great. He brought us a national championship. We'll always remember the 2023 team. But to know as a Michigan fan that, hey, that the entire regime, all of them are out. It's a brand new start. It's a fresh start is very reassuring to see. Because frankly, I'm just sick of the scandals in Michigan football. And even if the NCAA was just going out of their way to make an example out of the Michigan football program, which I'm not going to deny probably was the case. They didn't like Jim Harbaugh. They didn't like how Michigan was doing business. So I can certainly see where that was the case. But it's just the endless amounts of drama and headlines and everything that came from the Harbaugh regime, especially in his last couple of years, and then obviously the spillover into Sharon Moore. It's just nauseating, and it takes away from what this program's trying to do, and that's get back to the top of the mountain. So I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see Michigan's getting a fresh start. I think Kyle Whittingham is, obviously with his resume and his history in college football, I think he's going to be great. Obviously he had experience already beating Michigan. So I think there's a couple times. So there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to look forward to with what the future holds.
Real quick, Bo is 2-8 in Rose Bowls. Shout out to that.
Oh, 2 Rose Bowls. Okay.
And another thing is 2 Georgia players were arrested on reckless driving and speeding. Shocker. Jeez, Georgia's got I don't know how many arrests they've had for reckless driving. But no, I ultimately think Kyle Whittingham was brought to Michigan he's going to be here for, I think, 3 to 4 years, maybe 5, but I think it's 3 to 4 years, to be honest with you. He's an adult in the room for a change, and I feel like Michigan hasn't had that for a couple of years. But I would say this. I think Whittingham was simply brought to steady the ship, clean stuff up, be a bridge head coach, and then ultimately, when his time's up in 3 years, hire your guy. Is he a good coach? Sure. Is he big? Is he good at big games? No.
You hire a guy with decades of experience to be a bridge coach for your program?
I think he is.
Okay. Bridge to who? Who do you get on the other side?
Whoever their guy is. If Whittingham probably
Mike McDonald,
if he's available, I don't know what's going to happen in a couple of years. But no, it's simply this. Like the whole program has been, messy. It feels like since 2021, maybe 2020, maybe even before that. I don't know how far everything goes. I mean, he's had 11 since then. Since Harbaugh's gotten there, there's been 11 staffers arrested at some point. You even have the Matt Weiss scandal that went on. Denard Robinson got a DD, and then you even think before that Xavier Simpson was somehow in charge of the AD's wife's car, and he gives the wrong name, Jeff Jackson. And the police like, dude, I know who you are. You're Xavier Simpson, the point guard. He's like, oh, my bad, man. Like the athletic program needs to be cleaned up. So what do? You bring in a 66-year-old that has no scandals. You learned under one of the coaches that has a ton of scandals, but that's not the point. But you bring in a guy who has no scandals. He's an adult in the room. He doesn't follow OnlyFans models on Instagram. And what is he here to do? Clean things up. So what do? They've cleaned house up to this point. He's going to steady the ship, make sure everything. They did not even have a president in place when Whittingham was hired. So no coach was really going to take the job without a president. So what happens now? He's going to steady the ship for the next couple of years. Is Michigan going to win a national championship this year? No. Do they even make the playoff? I'm not sure they do. They got a brutal schedule. Do they even win it? Do they even make the playoff next year? I don't even know because they have a brutal schedule. Do I think the upgrade of the coaching staff is a major plus? 100% I do. It's a major upgrade from the staff before. But Whittingham is not here to win he's not winning a national championship. He's not. His record in big games at Utah ain't great either. Sorry, I mean, he's great in his area. I mean, he's never even coached on the east side of the Mississippi, as they say.
I mean, he was at Utah for over 3 decades. I mean, I think they were part of 3 different conferences while he was
makes
there.
Sense.
But yeah, back-to-back Pac-12 champions in 21 and 22, and he's played against the Oregons, he's played against the Washingtons, he's played against some of the powers on the West Coast. I mean, I get it. Like, he hasn't been in the Midwest, but I don't see you hiring a guy with over 30 years of experience to be a bridge coach. I think
Nate, the whole athletic program was a mess, and still is.
I get it.
The whole football program.
He can clean it up and not be a bridge coach. Like, that's I don't think
see this
they
team.
Just brought him in to clean it up.
I don't see this team making the playoff this year. I truly don't. I don't even know how good Bryce Underwood is. We can say that everyone can say all the nice things.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I'll give you that.
Well, there's a QB coach. There's an offensive coordinator. Now we have a coach that's actually going to coach. I get that. But Bryce Underwood showed me absolutely nothing. And there is no quarterback on this roster that has shown me anything since JJ has left. There's been nothing.
To that point, I mean, Michigan kind of has their hands tied behind their backs because Bryce Underwood does carry the price tag that he does. You did spend the amount of money you did on him. Now, not the school itself, but obviously the amount of money that was raised by Dave Portnoy and friends to be able to get the money for him to come play at Michigan. So you have to play him. So, yeah, though that's a very realistic question, is how good is Bryce Underwood? I know the arm strength is there. Anybody who ever watched the kid play, are there. Even when he was 16 years old, realizes what the arm can do. But does he have the touch and the mental fortitude and all those other things to be able to conduct himself in a way that he can go out and win games? Kyle Whittingham has developed quarterbacks, but
which quarterback?
Get
Cam Rising? And who else? Alex Smith back in the day?
I'm not going to go through the list right now. Sure. But he's developed quarterbacks. But anyways, you're right. I mean, I don't think Bryce Underwood is there's a lot up in the air as to what exactly Bryce Underwood can do.
Okay. I don't know who half these people are. Alex Smith in 02 to 04, but I think that was still Urban. Brian Johnson, I can't tell you who that is. Jordan Wynn, I can't tell you who that is. Travis Wilson, can't tell you who that is. Tyler Huntley, is that the UCLA eventual quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again.
Tyler
and I'll
Huntley.
give you
He was
5 years.
in the NFL, not long though.
5 years, 6 years of Cam Rising and Dampier was decent, but in 2 decades, in 20 years, the only quarterback was Alex Smith and Cam Rising. He's got no track record of developing quarterbacks. Not at all. He has no track record. Maybe his guy Jason Beck and I forget who the QB coach's name is. He's got the mustache. That's gonna annoy me. That's gonna annoy me what it is. But he's got no track record of developing QBs. Cam Rising, sure, was a good quarterback, but Bryce Underwood has way more expectations than what Cam Rising became.
No, I know. Yeah, he has more expectations than any of those guys. 100%. No, I agree. So can they get?
I think he's going to be a bridge. I don't know. He's going to be a bridge coach because they got everything to clean up.
A bridge to who, Ryan? What, you're just going to bring them in?
I don't know who the coaches are going to be in 3 years.
And hire someone else 2 years later? I mean, we haven't even seen the guy coach a game yet. How can you claim that
in 3 to 4 years? I think I think it's going to be 4 years and he's going to be gone. I think in Whittingham's 4th year, he's going to go to the administrative staff and quietly be like, "Hey, this is my final year. Let's get an idea on a coach you want to be." If the block M controls so much, if the block M, like everyone just goes down to it, if the block M carries so much weight, they should be able to hire anyone they really want. I mean, if you're Michigan, if the block M carries that much weight, it's Michigan for God's sakes. Shout out Brady Hoke.
You would think.
I mean, he's.
I mean, they did hire the Brady Hoke, so it wasn't the greatest choice in the world.
What's his record against top 10 teams? 24-39 against the top 25. Yeah. I ultimately think Whittingham is going to be a 9-3. It's the Pac-12. The only good team
but I would go to Washington before I went to Utah.
Washington wasn't anything before Michael Penix, Jake Locker.
He's recruiting against USC. He's recruiting against
What has
UCLA.
USC won in the last 15 years? Nothing.
That's fair. So Utah's done better than USC, I would argue, in the last 15 years.
The Pac-12 has done nothing in his time there. Oregon was good for a couple years with Mariota. Maybe. That's like a 2-year stint. And
Oregon's a perennial contender. But, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
What? Oregon? What? Oregon was good in 2011 and then to 2015, and after that there was nothing. There was nothing until Dan Lanning like 2 years ago in 23. Nothing.
Mario Cristobal didn't win it all at Oregon. I mean, of course, he lost big games. He lost every big game he was in. But
you're telling me Oregon is a perennial power.
Who did Mario Cristobal get smacked around by? Kyle Whittingham at Utah.
Oh, so what? They didn't win anything.
What do you mean, so what?
You just said Oregon's a perennial power. What has Oregon won?
They're always in the conversation.
Years?
No, you're right. They're always
blown
in the
out in big moments.
Shout
out Jameis. Or no, they beat Jameis.
Contender. All I'm saying, man, is you don't bring in a coach with over 3 decades of experience as a bridge coach to hire someone else a handful of years later.
They hired him super late, and that was the only option. Just saying.
Yeah,
it was after National Signing Day.
It's true, I guess. Yeah. But it is 10:33, so let's take a step aside. When we come back, we are going to get into the NBA betting scandal. I know we wanted to talk about that yesterday. We didn't get really a chance to get into that. So let's get into that. Sweden. Oh yeah, it's true. By the way, U.S. got Slovakia coming up, so let's just hope they can get to that. Man, I just want to see them beat Canada for the gold. That's it. But let's take a step aside here on Inside the Game. We'll talk betting scandal on the other side.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Welcome back in Inside the Game here on the National Soccer
Whoa.
Network. Whoa, what happened? Oh, voice crack?
Yeah,
You
I
hear
was-
that one?
Well, whoa.
Well,
It happens to the best of us.
haven't had one of those in a while. But getting into the NBA betting scandal. Is there a new scandal, Ryan? You got another one?
Yeah, it's Adam Silver. He's involved in this
Oh,
one.
boy.
It's reported that the betting, well, obviously tanking is a big thing, especially in the NBA specifically. And I guess the betting companies are pushing Adam Silver to make sure these teams aren't tanking and sitting their stars in the fourth quarter, because apparently it's ruining the over and unders, which I imagine it would. But yeah, that's what they're pushing. Okay.
We're getting to the point now to where betting companies are directing the NBA as to what to do.
That's what it's being reported. That's what insiders are saying.
Yeah. I mean, if you want an understanding as to why American sports fans are just fed up, as to why a lot of us are actually in some ways falling out of love with sports, and what used to be in a lot of ways the greatest escape is now anything but, is because the amount of greed, the amount of money, the amount of personal interest in terms of padding pocketbooks, the people with the big money making the decisions are now doing things like this in order to manufacture a space in which people don't lose out on their monies, or the over-unders aren't screwed up. It is becoming such a shell, just the sporting experience, whether it be consuming it, whether it be broadcasting it, whether it be being a part of it. It's becoming a sham of what it used to be, because money runs everything. And the minute we green-lighted sports betting in the United States and we made it legal, it started off as something like, oh, cool, okay, we can bet on sports now. That's awesome. But every time you watch TV now, and I saw this in the Super Bowl as well, every single damn commercial is one of two things. Use AI because your life depends on it, and spend all your money gambling. That's it. Maybe
there's
a
some
few
good products in there.
Maybe a few human interest commercials. Be nice or something along those lines.
What, you don't
know,
like the
yeah,
CNU
yeah.
commercials they have?
That was great. That was my favorite one actually all night. I actually laughed at that one harder than any other commercial.
Good.
Um,
It's great.
that is all we're consumed by now. And so sports betting more and more and more continues to gather more and more power and more say in the sports world, to where now we've officially gotten to the point to where they have so much power and so much control and so much say, and they have their name on everything, to where they feel like they can direct the NBA to direct teams to make decisions on what players play and when they play and when they're out on the floor.
Well, at the same
The
time,
fact that
there's
we have-
tanking. Like, the NBA is also, let's not forget, they're tanking player, and the NBA is also trying to get rid of tanking. That's something that's been a discussion for over a decade. The NBA could solve this problem easily without even the betting companies to be a part of it. But at the same time, the NBA is trying to prevent tanking. There has to be a new system to it. Is it crazy that possibly the betting companies are pushing for that? But at the same time, I mean, don't you want, if you're a paying customer, to go to a game, don't you want the best players playing at the same time? Like, they're just
sure,
sitting.
but I also don't want the betting companies directing the NBA to make decisions.
It's
If the
helping
NBA wants to
tanking.
deal,
That's what they're
if the
trying to
NBA
prevent.
wants to deal with tanking, that's fair. But I also think that this is something that is common in every sport. Baseball, yeah, you're gonna tank at the end of the year because you want the best draft pick if you're at the bottom of the table. I mean, football, you want to lose games at the end. Now, mind you, it's not the same as what it is. You don't see stars sitting out in the NFL.
The only
But,
time they sit
I mean,
is if they're a playoff team in the final game. That's the only
Exactly.
time.
But happens in the NBA, happens a lot of places. So I understand that the NBA has an issue in that regard, and it's frustrating for fans. I'm not going to say it's not, because if you go to a game, and players have brought this up before, like, you want to see the best players available. That's why they paid to come out. And it might just
Shout out
be
LeBron.
the one game a year it might just be the one game a year that they're able to go out and watch. Like, that does matter. I agree with you. But the idea of the idea of betting company telling the NBA, hey, here's how you do business, that's scary to me, man. That's really scary to me, because that is, I know we always talk about, and like our conspiracies are always that it's all set up, it's all scripted, everything that we see in front of us was all planned out beforehand to make it look, a certain way. Like, I always passed off people who said that as like just being crazy. Like, you're just grasping for any conspiracy that you can. And we're the YouTube generation right now. That's what people love to do. They love to go on YouTube. They love to, but it's funny because there's been one person on my TikTok page that I've seen more than anybody else. And I don't know if you've seen his videos, Ryan, but it's a CIA whistleblower, John Kiriakou.
I know
I'm
he
sure
is.
you've probably seen the edits. But he talked about how the word conspiracy theory, or the term conspiracy theory, was created by the CIA to make people look crazy for coming up with these ideas, when in reality, that's actually what was going on. Like the MK Ultras and all the other things that the CIA did, the slimy things that they did, that people were like, I think that they're up to this. But the CIA is like, no, you're just crazy, right? Like, they gaslighted normal everyday people. So, but when you look at the NBA or you look at sports, like, to say that, oh, they just manufacture parity, or the betting companies are in bed with the NBA to make certain things happen, is that just a conspiracy? I don't know. It could be true. I think this is just an indication of it. Do I say is the NBA a perfect product? Hell no, Ryan. Hell no. I mean, you look at the bottom 5, 10 I mean, yeah, absolutely. They're going to do everything they can to lose games. They're going to throw out you and me out there to play 30 minutes a night just so that they can lose by 40 and they don't have to worry about it. Like, that is problematic. But what's more problematic to me is the betting company going, hey, you got to do this, or you got to whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I would agree. But at the same time, it's just to help prevent, some tanking in this situation. And the NBA has not gone out there and created solutions at all to try to prevent tanking. It's also in the NBA. Like, people can, blame, oh, well, the betting companies are helping explain it. But at the same time, they might be helping a solution with the NBA to prevent tanking. There's a couple solutions that you could do in terms of the NBA. You can make the odds even higher for top 3, top 5 teams to get the pick. Also, maybe not force a trade from the Mavs to send their superstar to the Lakers and then give the Mavs, who are like the 13th best odds to win it all. And just saying, you could also not do that. But ultimately, I think this is what should happen. Out of the so what? How many teams don't make the playoffs? 14. That's what it is. 14.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you're 14 to let's go 10. 14 all the way down to 4. So 14 to 5, really. You just stay where you are. But the bottom 4 teams, they got to play it out. And ultimately, who wins the tournament, wins a little tournament, they get to get the number 1 overall pick. Then you have a third place to solidify 3rd and 4th place. Then the loser obviously gets number 2. But I think you should let these guys just play it out at this point if we're going to have tanking so bad. I'm sure you will see a couple teams still try to tank to get into that top 4. But at the same time, if you're 14 to, I don't know, 5, if you're 14 to like 8, there's no chance you're getting into the top 4 in terms of picks. So you might as well just play the guys as it is anyway. Yeah, you're not playing for anything at the end of the day, but you might be playing your star. You might be incentivized to play your stars a little bit more. You might be incentivized to, you know what, let's maybe try to make a run into the play-in and make, which I think you should get rid of the play-in in general at this point. It's just stupid now. But it made sense during the COVID year because, you didn't play as many games. So that made a little bit more sense. But just get rid of the play-in. Make those teams be maybe incentivized to maybe make the playoffs at that point. If you realize, wow, I'm 10 games back from making 4th place, which shout out Jackie Moon for that. You know what? In the final 15, 20 games of the season, I know they're not going to lose as many games as I'm going to lose. So let's try to make a run towards the playoffs. Let's be a little bit aggressive at the deadline. But you know what? Let those guys just play it out. Let those bottom 4 teams play out. If you want to make it 6, if you want to make it 8, sure. But just make it a single elimination at this point. I think 4 teams. Then you play a 3rd place to solidify 3rd and 4th, and then 1 and 2 are solidified easily. I think that's the best way to do it, but obviously that's smart, so the NBA would not do that. But ultimately, if they had that idea, them trying to be the smartest guys in the room, they would just let's make it 4, but let's make it stupid. Let's add round robin because we're dumb. That's basically what it'll boil down to.
Yeah, I mean, I never really trust NBA to make the right decision in a lot of these situations. I'm also not willing to give the benefit of the doubt to the betting companies to be like, oh, they're doing this for good reasons. They're trying to help fix the NBA. Like, no, they're doing this for their own.
But at the same time, you don't want your stars being benched in the 4th quarter. Like the NBA has fined lots of money towards the Jazz for benching Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. in the 4th quarter. Like, you want to see the best product out there, even in your area for your team and for the paying customers that are coming to the game that probably have to spend $100 on a nosebleed ticket, then spend $20 on a beer and a hot dog, probably like $25 more at that point.
But to be fair, that's not who the betting companies. But that's not who the betting companies are talking about. They're not talking about the family that's coming out to see the game.
I'm just saying, as an NBA team, like. You want to put your
just
best
in
team
general,
out there.
yeah, no, absolutely. No, you're right. Just from a true NBA fan perspective, 100%. I mean, I told you about. I had a friend that went to Pistons v Lakers 3 years ago, something like that. Didn't see LeBron, didn't see anybody. I mean, it's just one of those things where he's just like, I'm in Detroit. It's a Wednesday night. I don't have to play. So no, you're 100% correct. I just know that's obviously not who the betting companies are focusing on when they're saying these things. They're focusing on the people who are obviously making the bets. But the other thing about sports betting, and it's just crazy, is just how nuts people are about it. Like, I feel like there's yeah, I mean, there's like athletes get, I mean, I know they've always gotten death threats. Death threats are nothing new, but I feel like a lot of it's around like, you screwed up my bet, you screwed up my over under or my line or whatever it is.
Let's not kid ourselves. Sports betting's been around for a while, and people have lost lots of money. Yeah. It's the only issue even now illegally. is you can just go like this, and I could place a bet right now if I really wanted to. Like during the show, I could place a bet during every single show and wager thousands of dollars if I really wanted to. That's the only issue. Like, people have had gambling issues for forever. Even look at the casinos. But the issue now is it's so easy to access, and it's in your face all the time, like you mentioned, with commercials and TikTok videos and scrolling through social media. Like, it's so in your face now, but sports betting has been an issue, forever. There was it was a little bit harder to get through it, which nowadays I think if you just took away sports betting and made it back the olden way, I think a lot of people would just give up because of how difficult you'd have to make it be. So, no, and with how difficult all the hoops you'd have to jump through, you might have had to go to a bar and find a bookie there, or maybe in a dark alley, you got to go find a bookie. I don't know how that works, but no, sports betting has been an issue forever. The only issue now is it's just in your face and ultimately so easy to access.
Yeah, that's the thing about making stuff illegal. It's not that you're like, no one's ever going to do it. No, it just creates more obstacles to doing it. So if someone wants to do it really bad, they will. They'll find a way. But to those who want to, but not really, but are also susceptible to addiction and things like that. Maybe just by having it illegal or not available, they won't fall into that. But yeah, it's a weird world out here, man. But I think it's interesting that they're trying to direct the NBA to like, hey, how about you change your league around? How about you make sure that we're not doing these things, these roster moves and sitting guys in the fourth quarter. I get it, but I know they're not arguing on behalf. We may be arguing on behalf of the people coming to the games and watching it. I just know that they're probably not doing that. But let's get into question of the day.
Question of the day. We still got 11 minutes left. Let's do a couple mailbag questions. Before we do that, let's see. Let's go back to your Boston video. There's like 80. It's getting more. Let's see. This one coming from. There are more countries waiting to host the World Cup, even on short notice. The United States does not have the privilege of forcing people's hands.
Okay, then go there. Then go there, genius. Who else is ready to host the World Cup on a moment's notice?
England,
fine.
France, Spain, Portugal.
You think they
probably
can just roll up right now? You don't think that there's years of preparations that go into something like this? I don't know how it works, but I think that there's a little bit more involved than just rolling up and playing. So again, the entitlement thing.
You asked
is
what countries could host a World Cup like that in terms of and the best way is go to a country where there's infrastructure to hold all these soccer stadiums and all these soccer games. Well, we just named off a couple countries for you. So, let's see. This is the reason why Chicago isn't hosting any games. Yeah, they have their own issues, especially with Soldier Field. I just hear is a worn down stadium.
The comment underneath that one is pretty good too. I know that he had a response to that one, at least the one that I think you're looking at.
Let's see. Foxborough and the Crafts are trash. Ooh, Nate, you're being called ignorant.
Wow. Great. That hurts, man. It cuts really deep. No, listen, man. I mean, if we have strong opinions on anything on this, we're going to be called ignorant. I feel like sometimes if we were to call the sky blue, someone would still find a way to be like, you're an ignorant, dumb American. So, man, that just comes with the territory, dude. Like, we have a soccer podcast and we're Americans. Like, this is how this goes. But again, every passing comment helps boost our algorithm. So appreciate y'all as always. Seriously, helping grow the brand, helping grow the show. Couldn't do it without you.
You're not from here, bro. It's FIFA. This same guy will ask why everyone thinks Americans are dumb. Well, I would. I
know.
Well, I still think we even talked to somebody just now that says that records will be broken this year. Revenue will be broken. Advertising will be broken. So no, it'll definitely happen. But I mean, there's only one way to stop something like a corporation like FIFA to not do something, and that is simply to not show up. And we all know, everybody knows, that people will show up for the World Cup regardless of where it is. Everyone was so upset about Qatar, yet everyone showed up to it. Every game was constantly having butts in seats all the time. So if you have an issue with anything, any league, then just don't show up. But people still show up, so you can't really fault them for that.
Of course. They need the resources to be able to provide security and make sure it runs smoothly. You got 1 billion people in one area. You need to make sure that it goes well. I think about game days at Michigan football. Like, could you imagine if they didn't have security up to snuff around there? You got 100,000 people packed into an area that really can't hold that many people, at least the city itself. Foxborough is another example of that, with how many people are going to be flooding that small town just outside of Boston. I know we talk about Boston, but it's not Boston. So yeah, you need the reassurances from FIFA that they're going to help. They're going to help get you to that point, or that you get enough money from the federal
Alexi Lalas. Bro just glazes himself in every single video. I thought that's great. I mean, hey, if you've done half the things that Alexi Lalas has done in terms of the soccer stage, I'd probably want to glaze myself a little bit.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, the truth is like, I think people sometimes it doesn't sit well because he pops up on every single show that there is, every podcast, everything. Everyone's had Alexi Lalas, I feel like, at some point. But the reality is that, as he said on our show, like, it almost feels like it's his duty to spread the gospel of not only the game, but to talk about our men's soccer players, to be in the media. I mean, I would much rather it be that way around than the other way. You played and now you're retired and now you're not involved in it anymore. Like, you almost kind of have a responsibility as a soccer player in the United States to help elevate the game to the next level, especially when you're done playing.
Yeah, I would agree. But now it seems like the appropriate time to get into question of the day. But it's Salt Athletic, an official sponsor, is here at the National Soccer Network. And question of the day, use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit saltathletic.com today. Also, if you want to win this smell-proof cleat bag, without paying anything, check into our show not only tomorrow, but every single Friday for the next 18 weeks, we'll be giving away 18 Salt Athletic bags. Just all you got to do is head over to our Instagram, drop us a follow, tag a friend, and comment hashtag NSN Salt giveaway on any Salt Athletic post, and we will be announcing a winner every single Friday for, I believe it's the next 18 weeks. I really hope I'm right on my math. But anyway, question of the day. Is it finally feeling... I should have put March Madness, but is it starting to feel like March Madness? Just feels like it's right around the corner in terms of basketball season.
I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, yeah? It's getting warm. The games coming down to the end of the season. Heck yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The NBA is still boring. Heck yeah.
I'm feeling the fever. We're getting to that point of the year. And to hear the Matt Painter's comments the other day about Michigan is that's fun. That reminds me a little bit of PJ Fleck circa 2023 when they played all but what was it, all but one player, the backup kicker, when they were on the road. Long snapper. Sorry about that. So they played everybody. So it kind of reminds me of PJ Fleck. And obviously, what happens after he made that comment. They go on to win a national championship. So so for him to be like, yeah, this team ain't losing 4 games. Like, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they space the floor, they're intense. Like, they're just big bodies, man. Like, that's the thing about basketball is, like, yeah, you can talk about, oh, if you can shoot, you can win. It's still a tall man's game. It's still a big man's game. And if you have guys who are bigger and stronger and can move, and Lindenborg has had all the pressure taken off of his shoulders because of how deep that team is. He could just be himself and go out and play. They are the best team in the country, easily, hands down. And so that is that to get that nod of approval from, again, we talk about coaches who have had skin in the game for multiple decades. I mean, 25 years of coaching at that level. I think he knows what it looks like when he sees a team that is capable of winning a championship. So it is all kind of building to a crescendo. And how nice is it for Michigan fans too, especially after all the football crap that went on, to have a basketball season like this? Man, was that necessary? I think it's bizarre to see to go from 8 wins to where they are now, but happy we finally got here. I'll say that.
And I would take Matt Painter's words a little bit more than PJ Fleck. That's just my opinion. Painter's done it for longer and has won a whole lot more than PJ Fleck will ever win. But no, I think
Western Michigan row the boat.
Hey man, you go undefeated in the MAC for sure, man, for sure. But no, it just feels like, when I leave the studio here in the afternoon around 3 or 4 o'clock, and it's like, wow, feels good out here. Or like when I go to my car, I don't have to let it warm up for a couple of minutes or freeze, whenever I step outside. It's great. And then to see how good this Michigan basketball team is, it just feels great as well. And I mean, they're not just beating these teams; they're beating them by double digits. And you bring up the point of like how great it is for Michigan fans after what they just ensued. I mean, talk about the basketball program that they've had to watch since 2021. I mean, ever since that Sweet 16 game or that round of 32 game against Tennessee, they really haven't had a ton of big wins. I mean, a couple moments here and there, but Dusty May gets here 2 years ago. It was an 8-24 team, and now they're number 1. Looks like they could at least clinch a share of the Big Ten. I know like they don't do like head-to-head or anything in terms of that, but if Illinois drops one more game and Michigan loses just one, I feel like they might just win it outright And they have Minnesota, then you have Illinois, then you have Iowa, and then you have Michigan State. But ultimately, I think you'll see the test of how good this Michigan team is Saturday against Duke.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a huge matchup for sure. So we'll talk a lot about that coming up. But that wraps up episode 233. One more go around. No interviews tomorrow. No, just Ryan and I chatting for 2 hours tomorrow morning. I'm kidding. No, we got Tanner coming on for indoor soccer. He's going to tell us all about everything that's going on in Major League Indoor Soccer. Tanner time. Tanner White, our good friend here on Inside the Game. He's going to tell us all about the men's game and the women's game, but that's coming up tomorrow. And until we talk to you guys for episode 234, no, would never forget. It's my guy. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning right here on Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.